boldip.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Bold Inventor Show. I'm your host, JD Houvener, with my co-host, Matt Kulseth. Matt, so good to have you.
How's it going?
Hey, man, looks like we're having some trouble on our Facebook stream. Hey, we don't need them. Let's see. Okay, we're for Bold Patents. I'm a patent attorney, and Matt over there is a trademark attorney. We're doing this every week. We're live today across LinkedIn and YouTube. For anyone that's joining us for the first time, we welcome you. Listening to us to after the fact or watching the show, you want to watch us live. We're here every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Pacific at your noon. So 3 o'clock on East Coast. We're talking intellectual property, helping you, the inventor, entrepreneur, business owner, with lots of cool Q&A live if you're hopping on. And we do some preloaded questions that come into our Reddit channel as well as our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. So happy to have you. And just so you know, this is not a confidential forum. So this is not the good place to mention for the first time or anytime, anything confidential. So we're just chatting about legal information, going over hypotheticals. And as you probably could tell by the title here, we're going to be doing an interview with one of our previous clients, our current client, Jimmy, with Step and Lock Journey. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
Good.
Excited to be here. Tail end of summer.
Yeah.
Kids are home. Thinking about going back to school here. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mode. That's great. I've got kids home this week, and they're getting antsy. They're getting antsy and excited for school. We're starting Wednesday next week.
Nice.
A week from today. So, we've got open houses coming up, getting their teachers assigned. All that. So
my oldest daughter's entering middle school this year, so she was at middle school orientation today.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot. I've heard that it's just kind of like the first sixth graders. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So it's, kind of before the seventh and eighth graders get there, they get kind of a primer.
Yep.
That's so good.
Cool. And then actually she'll go to school a day before everyone else goes to school. So the sixth graders have like a full day in the middle school by themselves first.
Fantastic. That's good. You kind of navigate without all the people.
Yep.
I've been inside those halls recently. I did middle school track, and trying to get to the locker room. Oh man, it's a ton. It's like a salmon. It's the river of students.
Waiting for your turn.
Yeah, it's a ton. Well, I'm excited for today's show. We're doing some Q&A here, you and I, and then we'll bring on our guest, Jimmy. He's got an amazing last name. I'm going to have him help me with how to pronounce it.
So amazing that he's going to tell us how to say it.
Jimmy W, and he's the founder of a really cool invention that's on Kickstarter right now. 7 days left. It's blowing up. I mean, over 50K. Blew past his goal.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's very cool. He's going to share his journey, of course, which started with us back in 2019, from provisional all the way to where he's now patent granted and now making money with his patent. So looking forward to that conversation. Again, we welcome anyone that's joining us live to ask questions. You'll get to the top of the queue. Matt, myself, will be looking for those. Meanwhile, I've got 4 questions I was looking at. I thought to be pretty darn good. And we'll take those on, then we get to our guest.
Sounds good.
Good. This first one is from Cora. I did look at this question. I wanted to answer it because I don't think we've touched on it in our many years. So let's take a look at this. In patent law, how do lawyers manage conflicts between co-inventors who have different strategies for handling a patent application? I think this is so good. So good. This conversation about co-inventors disagreeing. They can disagree about a lot of things. And so it all comes down to, when it comes to us, is who is the client, right? Who actually engages the law firm. Now, if it's 2 independent, inventors, we could actually engage both named inventors and as individuals. And that does put us in this position where, hey, if some point they disagree and they dig in, they can't come to a consensus on how to move forward, the 2 options are we disengage with both parties and they have to both find their own counsel, which is unfortunate. And so what we try to avoid doing that, of course. And we try to get that invention as soon as we file an application to assign it to a company, a business, either simple as LLC or a C Corp. And that way the entity owns the asset, and then we'll have the representation. The client is the company, not the individuals. And that way they'll have their own structure of the company, which can have a revolving door, perhaps, of multiple different faces, owners, CEO, director, managers, doesn't matter. We are going to represent the company. And so anyone that individually wants advice, we have to say, you know what, sorry, you have to go seek separate counsel. And then I wanted to mention one more topic is that it can happen through waivers if two separate co-inventors want to have separate counsel. It's really ugly, very awkward, but inventors can have this on the same invention and have two separate patent attorneys. Why are you going to pay double? But it's just perhaps some inventors, disagree or have business issues.
We are actually, I'm in that situation right now with one of our clients.
Okay. You want to walk through kind of some of the hypotheticals?
Yeah, just a high level overview of what's going on there. But yeah, there's two attorneys of record on one registration at the USPTO right now. And it's because our client believes that they own the trademark registration. And there's a third party who believes that they own it. And there's two listed owners. It's an individual who used to be a manager of the company, and then the company itself. And so our position is that, well, that's our trademark, and she was a representative of the company when it was filed, and her name shouldn't be on it. Well, their viewpoint is different. So right now, we're just waiting for the renewal to go through, right, and waiting for one of us to file the renewal and figure it out. But we haven't gotten anywhere with that issue yet.
Dang. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it can happen. Some sticky situations like that. So it's sort of an ownership question while it's going through registration. Both parties, want it to go.
Yeah, it's been registered, and at this point,
we're just registered. Okay, got it.
It's registered. Like, who owns it? Well, we own it, right? No. Well, we're gonna have two attorneys of record now, and we're gonna figure it out at that point. So.
Okay, love it. Okay, let's stick with trademarks on this one. This is involving domain names, and this comes up a lot. Here we go. So someone bought a domain, which I wanted to use.
Yep.
I read that it's only possible to get it back if I have a trademark. Where and how can I get a trademark for a brand name?
Yeah, a little bit more complicated than that. So if you own a trademark registration and that trademark is being used in the domain owned by a third company, and they're redirecting traffic to profit off of your goodwill, off of your brand, then you can claw it back through Uniform Domain Resolution Procedure, which is a World Intellectual Property Organization lawsuit, essentially.
Okay.
So that would be, one option, but man, you wouldn't want to, that's pretty fact specific. For the most part, I tell clients, if someone else has a domain and you have a trademark registration, you can't get the domain. There's a very limited fact pattern where they're acting in bad faith, that they registered the domain after you register your trademark, and then they try to, misdirect it or sell the domain back to you. Very specific fact pattern. So, generally speaking, no, but talk to an attorney.
Right. Yeah, I think I've heard you answer this, a little bit, a few times in the past. Where like, hey, don't necessarily go to battle on the URL. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
you find it.
That's my advice to clients too. Is that domains just don't matter like they used to.
Right. Yep.
Back in my day, like SEO from an SEO standpoint, like domains mattered, right? And then Google's gotten so good and other search companies that it just doesn't matter anymore.
100%. Love it. Thanks, Matt. I've got a couple few live people on. We're going to be doing an interview with Jamie W. of Step and Lock here in just a few minutes. We're going to do 2 more Q&A questions. This is your time to get your question in. If you have something on your mind, keep things hypothetical, of course, nothing confidential. Matt and I'd be happy to take your question on. So send it into the comments. This one is about provisional patent applications and is it worth it? Let's dig into this. Okay. So I have this invention that's super revolutionary, and I want to get a provisional patent essentially just for college apps to stand out in the sea of students with published papers. I would like to be non-restrictive to others, something like Volvo's seatbelt patent. I don't know if I know that. So basically giving it away, right?
Sure.
No sort of a comma. It was like free Collective Commons or whatever the word is, disregarding the price and the work of everything. Is this provisional patent worth getting? Okay, a few things here. So your goal is to basically have this be in addition to your resume and sort of an academic process. That's not a great reason to go get a patent, in my opinion. The patent process is, I'd say to a lesser degree than trademarks, should be about making money. Now with trademarks, it's all about being in business, right, Matt? And so with patents, if your goal is merely to have an academic exercise, basically have a pretty looking white paper, you don't need to have the USPTO around it, in my opinion. But if you want to sort of have that rigor to be able to say, hey, what I've done here is novel and non-obvious, and I could go commercialize it. Okay, a provisional patent application, there's no such thing as a provisional patent, means you must be willing to follow it up within 1 year with a non-provisional patent application and see it through to issuance. So it's a multiple year process. Being just patent pending, in my opinion, doesn't really get you alone, and letting it abandon, that's not going to be a resume booster for anyone that knows about patent law. The fact that you filed a patent, anyone could do that. You put a one sentence line in, it's a provisional, it's patent pending. It doesn't carry any weight. Hasn't been evaluated or examined by the USPTO examiners yet. So the last part about this, if your goal is to, just to let it out and there'll be, to let everyone use it, right? And have royalty-free use, you simply just need to go publish your invention. And there's ways to do that. You can have a disclosure, right? An on-purpose disclosure. Lots of different ways to do that. One, I find a well-circulated journal or periodical, have a publication, a PR company help you with that. And then there is, through the patent office, you can do what's called a defensive publication, which is often done in sort of anti-competitively to assure that no one else can get a patent on it. So a few different routes to go there. Matt, any comment on that?
No, I love that. That's a great answer. Very good.
All right. Last question, then we'll jump to our guest. Thank you, Jimmy, for waiting backstage. This one should be pretty straightforward, short and simple. This is coming from Reddit, using trademarks. So is it possible to trademark a common term without an associated font to distinguish it? And if it is possible, can you then go after all the vendors who were using that term before you trademarked it?
No. Mostly because I don't understand the question.
Yeah. What does font have anything to do with registration for a word mark?
It can. Okay. So this is something, I think there's probably a couple different things going on here. Sometimes folks confuse font as a trademark when it's really a copyright. When people create a font script, right, what they're doing is creating a series of characters or artworks, that are under U.S. copyright law. And so I try to, when people start talking about script and stuff like that, or what font type they're using, it's like, hey, that's a copyright thing. We don't need to go there. Okay. But from a trademark perspective, there are such things as design trademarks where you have a character mark, right? And maybe you have a stylized version of that character mark. Maybe there's such, let's say the word's common, right? The word is common that we're trying to register. And for whatever reason, the design mark is a series of trains connected together, right? So that's kind of the script that it looks like. If that's the case, then even the word common is not registerable. The word mark, there might be enough design elements there to register the design without the words themselves.
Right. That's super good. I like it.
Yeah, it's really complicated, but no, basically there's no way you can go screw people over with this methodology here.
Yeah, my mind is like, hey, I want to, Coca-Cola, right? That scripted signature.
Yeah.
This Coca-Cola and Times New Roman. Sorry, that's not.
Yeah, that's not how it works. There's much smarter attorneys than me that have figured that one out, I'm sure.
Okay, awesome, Matt. We knocked out the park. Let's bring our guest on, Jimmy W. Thanks for making time and making it onto the Bold Inventor Show.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I think there might be
Hey,
a
Matt.
bit of a
Hey,
delay.
JD.
We're
Yeah, no,
trying to
great.
work through it. So you're the
Yeah, I have
inventor
to
of the
apologize.
step and
I've been trying to tweak my Wi-Fi. For some reason, it's a little off. So I
So you're
apologize.
the
Hopefully,
inventor
it's
of the
not too
step and
bad.
log. Well, let's just see how we do. Let's see if it goes. We'll have to adjust it. If you can hear me now, give us kind of the journey, what you went through, and I think back to 2019. What you went through in terms of how you came up with this idea, and then how you decided to move through and secure a patent.
It came through for me, JD, but I don't know if Jimmy's hearing us.
She decided to actually move forward. How bad is it? Is it pretty bad, Wi-Fi wise?
I think it is. I think unfortunately, the delay is
Apologies.
at least 10 seconds. No worries. Matt,
Jimmy, do you want to
above.
maybe turning your video off and we can just do it audio?
If that's
Yeah.
okay, let me try that and see, and we'll give it that go. Thanks everyone for their patience. Give me
Might be good
turn
now,
that
Jimmy.
off
Hold
here.
on.
Let's
I
see.
think it's good. Can you hear me now?
I can hear
Are we
you.
good? Yeah, I think we're okay. I think we've improved.
All right, let's
Yeah, we're
let's
good.
try
We're
it
good.
and
Okay.
then we'll see how it goes. But
Yeah,
all right.
nice.
Thanks again for that. Thanks everyone for patience. Yeah, so 2019. I mean, yeah, the journey really started with my own pain and suffering as I get older. Long story short, really quick introduction to the step and lock, and I actually have a prototype here with me. It's a sliding door security device, if you will, that I think everyone knows. Typically, if you try to add security to your sliding door, you put a stick in the little channel, and you maybe just kind of jury rig it so that it just adds that deadbolt feel to the sliding door.
Right.
But what I found over time, and the reason I reached out in 2019 was, hey, I have an idea, and it looks like preliminarily I don't really see anyone else doing it. Does this make sense? But really during COVID, I would say in 2020, when I really found the needs where we were all stuck at home, going out the back door, opening the sliding door, and after a while, that wooden stick I got lazy, just stuck out, didn't really do much, just stayed perpendicular, and that's when I decided to kind of reach out about a provisional patent and really, is this something worth investing in, I guess, at the end of the day. And my wife and I kind of sat down and said, heck, let's just do it. So reached out to the Bold team and kind of started that journey. And here we are. I think it was just at the beginning of last year, through the full patent process and utility patent granted. So excited for that. So that was a quick high level. But
sounds good. So Matt, is this something that you do day in, day out? Is design this type of hardware, or is this totally outside the box for you?
Definitely outside the box. I think in the back of my head, I've always had a interest to do something entrepreneurial, try something. I've been a long time Kickstarter, Shark Tank watcher, if you will. I know you kind of talk through them sometimes, but never really had that idea that I would say I need to go double down on this and do it. So my wife and I, full-time family or have a full-time job. So that's why it really took those 5 years. A lot of stop and go with the patent office and that back and forth, with USPTO office, but then also then with stop and go with family, stop and go with work. But it was a journey, and it was great to have that collaboration partnership to keep that going, because sometimes just validating
Jimmy, the audio
your
is cutting
idea.
out a little bit right there. Maybe we'll let the connection settle. And what I'll do is I'll show off your patent. Let's check in a few seconds. Maybe the connection will improve. So this patent was issued just a little over a year ago, May 2024. And there's that last name. If you can hear me, go ahead and give us a pronunciation on that.
Yeah, Wanichsuksombat.
All right.
My parents tell me it's supposed to translate from, it's a Thai last name. It's supposed to translate to wealthy merchant. So if everything goes true, hopefully this will be a success
Yes.
case of that. But
I love it. Absolutely. Well, you sure were persevering. I mean, my goodness, it took you 5 years all the way through
yep,
COVID. You filed the non-provisional in October, referring back to a provisional filed right in the heart of COVID in October 2020. And so walk us through that. Was it, I mean, why did it take 4 years? I mean, I know, and you can be as honest as you can be here. You know, we'll get back to sharing the patent itself. What was that like? What were some of the ups and downs of that?
yeah, I think in a nutshell, I think what the really there, I think there's an option to expedite or not, and honestly, at that point, I didn't feel like expediting it or fix funds. I'm looking back, maybe I should have. Really did, and like I said, life got in the way. So I don't
Right.
know if I'm still cutting in and out there, but
I think you're doing good. Yeah. I hear you most of the way. That's good. Well, I want to show the product. So let's look at it. So the patent itself, who is your patent attorney? There it is. Benita. You work with Benita on
Benita,
this.
yeah, out of Oregon, I believe. So
That's right. So this is the drawings. Of course, you know, the patent, the utility patent, you end up owning the utility claims that are written. And this looks pretty close to actually what you're holding up.
yep.
How did we do? I mean, did we end up getting a patent on what you're selling?
Yeah, I think we're patenting exactly what's being sold. I think like anything, I think we try to have it as general as possible, but there have been other products that claim, if you will, this kind of bar in sliding door. What I think got us over the line was the fact that there's a front roller to the device that kind of provides that frictionless piece. And there really hasn't been anything else that really provided this kind of, because when you unlock it, I mean, the whole purpose of this is this ergonomic thing. You don't have to bend down to add this security to your sliding door. You slide it into the sliding door. And then you step, not having to bend down, you step to actually lock it in place, and you step again to release it and have it slide up the back of the sliding door. And so, yeah, I think it was just that additional rolly piece that made the whole thing approved. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology there, but that's what brought it over the line, if you will.
So here's your Kickstarter, and there's actually a video. Maybe I should have started with that. Showing how it works.
So what do you think it is?
We can see this here. You can kind of talk us through it if you're able to see. So there it is.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's great.
Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. No, I mean, as you kind of called out, I mean, you can see the device being used. It's locked in this locked position. You just step on it without bending down, and that's what really actuates it to kind of slide open. And then you step again on a second button to have it locked. So that's really kind of the whole gist of it. It's really kind of a simple, kind of sleek design. I don't have to bend down anymore. I mean, selfishly, I wanted to produce this because I actually have 2 sliding doors at home, and I have 1 prototype, so I'm trying to get a second one. So maybe this is an expensive way to get my other sliding door secure. But like I said, it's just to add, I think we all know those front doors that have deadbolts. This is I kind of describe as a deadbolt for your sliding door. Kind of adds that additional security because sometimes those current locks on those patio sliding doors are a little flimsy, and get rid of those wooden sticks, if you will.
Yeah, look at that. So you've got 502 backers. This is a live Kickstarter.
It is, yeah. We've been. It's a 30-day campaign on Kickstarter. So if anyone's interested, maybe even to throw out Jimmy W at stepandlock.com, and I can get you a family or promo code for a deeper discount. But it's we have 7 days left of the campaign, and happy to say it's one of those things where it's a lot of investment to go through the patent process. I work with an engineering firm to actually come up with designs that actually got put into the patent as well. Work with manufacturing and things like that. So it's one of those things where until you actually validate it, through a Kickstarter or other means, you don't know if people are actually going to buy it. People buy 5. In this case, we have 500 backers. So very, very, very excited to actually get enough to run that first production run. And that's kind of been the initial goal, to get that initial production run going. So.
Good for you. And Jonathan Mitchell is asking, it says some Kickstarters fail miserably. Not you. What was your strategy to attract so many investors? Cool product.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it does take time, takes investment. I think finding the right partners, Bold being one. I've worked with a few different agencies and did a lot of that stop and go, and taking the 5 years tier 2 is because I know with a provisional patent and before, and I look back, if I could have done something sooner, absolutely right. You can go out and then I didn't have to wait till the patent was done to go and do a Kickstarter. That was really on me in terms of investing time and energy to do so, and a lot of that was spent even before Kickstarter, working with, investigating agencies, doing some online marketing before the Kickstarter to kind of build this swell of audience, if you will. And what I found what's really interesting and helpful, as no surprise, where even with like a $20 day spend on like a Facebook or Meta, Instagram, to kind of gauge people's interest, I was really surprised to see, less than $1 cost per click and getting people's email addresses that kind of gauge if there's interest in this product. So I think that's kind of built that momentum to then build a swell of customers or audiences to actually invest in something like this. So long answer to a short question there, but thanks for that question.
Good. And I haven't been on Kickstarter in a long time. So these backers, are they just buying the product, or are they actually getting some equity in the company?
Yeah, Kickstarter is kind of built in the way, no equity, just for clarity. I think at the end of the day, actually it's not being sold, but they're called pledges. They're people that, they're pledging money, and nothing's ever, unfortunately, guaranteed, but with the idea of getting a device. And so there's varying, right now we're at an early bird special for the next 7 days at $99. As I mentioned, reach out to me directly if you're interested in a $79. That was what we launched with on launch day 20 days ago, and so the hope is I can invest, or I will invest over the next 2 months to get a production run going, receive those products in November to ship them out. But those pledges, it can be an optional. Some people might pledge a few dollars. They like your product in Kickstarter, but many of them, a lot of the backers you see, should be receiving a product in a few months in time for the holidays.
Love it. So they can contact you at jimmyw@stepinlock.com and get that extra discount.
Yeah, happy to share a friends and family code.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Absolutely.
Good deal. I'll send that over. All right, good deal. Well, thank you, Jimmy. Hope I spelled that right. Step in lock. There's no hyphens on the email.
No hyphens on that. Nope. That's a domain, and that's an alternative perspective. I know you mentioned earlier how important are domains. If you can get the right one, those are still very helpful. But again, not a professional opinion. I was happy that this one was available.
Totally agree with you. Right, there's a few out there, that I've personally seen owners with that are worth something. I talked to a guy who owned wallstreet.com one time. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, he had people knocking on his door,
with
big money, millions of dollars of money offers.
Absolutely.
So,
Pretty cool. So in terms of trademark, since we're on that topic, step in lock, quite descriptive. Jimmy, where are you at in terms of registering step in lock, or are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and Matt, like I mentioned, we had a conversation a few years ago, and apologies, there's been a long gap between then and now, and then I don't know if you asked for bold honesty. I thought it'd be one of those things where, just file it. It's no problem. It's easy. And then you get this, I just got a response actually timing-wise, end of last week, no, and here's all the reasons why. So Matt, you'll see maybe
I see that. I'm looking at it right now.
You're seeing it now. This kind of, hey, I need help. There's probably a couple other competing where even though the domain wasn't locked down, there's other products in other industries or similar that, so hopefully there's something.
Well, you guys talk, confidentially about that. We don't need to.
Because I'm invested, obviously, to a certain degree.
Yeah, we'll talk offline, but there's definitely some opportunities here.
Fantastic.
Dive in too deep, yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about making this.
Yep.
You built one. Looks like maybe the video is all AI, but it looks like you built the one you held in your hand. What are some of the what hurdles have you cleared? In manufacturing, what hurdles are still yet to be cleared?
Um, yeah, I think the hurdles. I think that, as you saw, have a few prototypes now, and working with the manufacturing firm to kind of design or finalize the QA. Like there are specific dimensions and sizes that really, if it's done just a little bit a millimeter off, it's not going to work the way you want. The functionality is not going to be there. So I think finalizing those bits and pieces, but we're really at the party over the course of the next few weeks to place a production order, and then pushing through timelines. I think a lot of stop and go also through a lot of this is just trying to understand the tariffs and what does that mean. I think for this, really trying to get the initial product out, and just trying to at least, if possible, break even on it. So when you mentioned earlier, when you're making money, I wouldn't necessarily call that this is retirement at the moment, to be honest with you, but it is one of those things where, really, if you could build that momentum and continue it, just trying to get the product out there, get back. Really the main purpose of some of the tariffs and moment, bring those out to our backers from the Kickstarter campaign in a few months.
Yeah. Well, I think you're being humble. I do think it's impressive to have strangers giving you money for your product. So I would say you've definitely reached the success, but yeah, there's definitely levels there. And I think you're smart to keep momentum moving. So are you doing this all on your own? Do you have a team behind you? I know you've got your co-inventor, your wife, but tell us about what the Step and Lock team looks like.
Yeah, I think the team. I think at the moment, and my apologies, my wife couldn't be here, but I think wife who's actually co-patent, if you will, listed as well. So it's been really a husband and wife team, both supporting feedback, engineering, and design. Work with the engineering firms. Actually, it was through her that you and I started working together 5 or 6 years ago on this. So, thankful to her for connecting us in this way. Yeah. And then, and the kids helping with the testing. Honestly, they're playing with it. Kids being kids. Is this And then, I think you kind of can't do it on your own. Although there's been a lot of late nights, up until the campaign launch and even now, to keep it going. But building that team around you through different agencies, finding other partners, just leverage, just different kind of line and other things. Upwork. I don't know if I can list other, but other partners to find, if you will, just some of the cost efficient.
Got it. Jimmy, audio's cutting out just a little bit. I wish we could get a little bit more clear. Maybe we'll have to do it again.
Hopefully that came through.
Most of it did. Let's wrap up with one final question. Well, maybe two. Okay, first one, you raised, your goal was $5,000. You have $55,000. What are you going to spend that money on?
Yeah, we're just shy, just being really transparent, on a first production run. So I think the first production run was a $60,000 investment, and so this is all going towards that. To be honest with you, so I don't know if that's shipping yet or anything like that. That's just to get the product. So they're still probably a little bit shy of tariff costs, shy of shipping. So a little bit more I probably need to do on the side to get it over the line, but yeah, that's where that money's going for.
Got it. Sounds good. Well, congratulations. I'd like to get your, looking back, where you've kind of climbed this mountain, I'll say, in getting, securing patent rights, beginning to commercialize your product, and it's taken you a number of years. If someone's out there listening now or live or after the fact, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give yourself, right? If you could do things differently?
Doing things differently. I think I wish, I guess, knowing what you know now. I mean, the hard part is, keeping the energy going through the whole process.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of just doubts, like, is this really commercially viable? Do people really want this? So unfortunately, the result, knowing now that people do want it, enough of like 500 backers, and that's just off the last few months. I wish I would have tested that earlier with, the provisional patent potentially, and just, saying, patent pending and that type of thing. I think that would have been something I would have done, even, I guess at least in the last year or two earlier than where I am now. But, neither here or there, because that clock is ticking, as we know, it's around how long that patent's good for. So I've eked out some of the few years. I've lost some of the few years, but, hopefully the time with family was good. The second thing I'd say is probably reconnect with Matt on your team earlier than after the fact. But I'm sure there's some work that we could do there from a patent and obviously trademark process. So looking forward to those continued discussions.
Great advice. What's that, Matt?
We'll get the trademark sorted.
Yeah, we will. We will. Keeping the energy alive. I like that message a lot. And I think energy,
Sure.
I'm also hearing the word confidence, keeping confidence and motivation through to get it done, because it takes that burning fire. You've got to have it in you. In this case, you hung in there. But I like that idea of, hey, you know what? Let's test this out. Let's validate. Let's get some confirmation that this is working and viable, as you said. So I like that recommendation a lot. So we're going to wrap up the interview. Jimmy, thank you for being a guest on our Bold Inventor Show. We'll have to have you back to hear how the Kickstarter went, how your first production run went, and best to you, and step in line.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time here. Sorry for some of the audio visual delays, but I really appreciate your team and everything that helped me get to this point. Bold is part of that village with me. So I encourage everyone, and keep it up. So
love that. Thank you. Thanks, Jimmy. All right. Oops. Here we go. Hey, Matt. All right. Well, audio was pretty good. We had a good interview. That's pretty awesome. I'm glad you're going to be able to help him out on the trademark side.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I think we're going to wrap it up today. Any final thoughts or things you want to mention, Matt?
No, other than the fact that the USPTO canceled 50,000 Chinese trademarks.
Ooh, ouch. Yep. For them, but good for us.
Good
what does
for
that
us.
mean? What does that mean?
I mean, 50,000 trademarks is a lot of trademarks, but it's a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things, considering, 15,000 trademarks are filed every week in the United States. So, it's a great start, though. There's a lot of illegitimate trademarks out there from China dumping trademarks in the United States. And the United States Patent Trademark Office is finally doing something about it. So
let's get specific. So, I mean, illegitimate. Give me an example of an illegitimate filing.
So there was a series of companies in China who were basically inundating the United States with trademark applications using U.S. counsel, but not really using U.S. counsel. So they would go through U.S. counsel, but these attorneys in the United States were not actually acting as attorney of record. Which is a requirement, right? If you're going to be attorney of record, you have to act as attorney of record. And these folks were just rubber stamping everything that came across their desk.
So kind of two parties at fault.
Yeah.
In a lot of these cases, shame on you, attorney here in the U.S., and obviously not doing their diligence. And then, of course, the bad actor overseas, urging, pushing, asking for it. So the 50K is a big number. It obviously sounds like it sends a message that, hey, we're done and we're monitoring this. Hopefully it'll free up, the office to do more.
Yeah, but I mean, if the whole goal, at least, from conjecture, if the whole goal of, the Chinese government of putting all these applications in the United States was to gum up the works, mission accomplished, because it worked.
Yeah, slowed it down. To basically be the same as it was for patents, and let's hopefully make sure that both of those will go faster.
Yeah.
Here in the future. So we're still waiting for a director to be named at the USPTO, I believe.
I haven't heard anything about that recently.
Yeah. So good deal.
I'm still waiting for the president to call me.
Exactly. That'd be fun. Absolutely. So that's going to do it here for the Bold Inventor Show. Jonathan, thanks for hopping on, being part of our show. Anybody else who didn't get a chance to, you're welcome to ask a question. Next week, we'll be live here on the Bold Inventor Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn at 12 o'clock noon. For Matt, myself, and Bold Patents, wishing you guys an awesome day. Go big, go bold.
Go big. Go bold at boldip.com.